Have I ever had to stab somebody in prison? Now, I'm not going to go into this like I'm tough or this is something I wanted to do. When it comes to the child molesters or the guys who, I wouldn't even call them guys, the cowards who rape women, I've sliced them. I've done whatever I could to just hurt them. But when it came to an actual stabbing in prison, this was a man that was trying to bully me. When I first touched down in prison, I was 23 years old in the Panhandle at Holmes Correctional Institution. I was on the CM unit, control management. Everybody in there has life, 50 years, people never going home. There's no parole in Florida, so it's hopeless. No trades, there's nothing. Sometimes I would get a job in the kitchen. And going in there, whatever organization was running that part of the prison ran the kitchen. Nothing came out of there. You couldn't eat. They try to really bully on everybody. I'm sure a lot of you know my story. My podcast I done with Chaos Chronicles, Matthew Cox. However, coming up in the system through my teenage years and all of my 20s, I was jumped. I've had my thumb dislocated. I've taken way more losses than I've taken wins. I've had orbital bone broken, thumbs dislocated, ribs broken. I've been stabbed in the face. I've gone through it all. Hit with locks, everything and anything. I got slice marks here. A lot of my tattoos cover a lot of the stab wounds I have on me. Or they look like they're part of the tattoo. But if you look, you can see it. However, when I got into a major attack, which later I found out was a hit on the east side of Gun Club when I was 22 years old, before I even took my time, a revenge hit that carried over from the streets. I robbed drug dealers. That's what I went to prison for. We go find their stash spots, whatever it was, and run on them like we were the freaking feds, like we were cops, whatever it was. Sometimes we'd have strippers set them up, and they jumped me. They tried to kill me. They hit me with locks. They tried to put my head in the toilet, kick my skull in. I got up out of there, and I told myself throughout that chaos, throughout that fight, I was fighting as hard as I could, but 4 or 5 on 1, I'm fighting to survive, not to win. But I made it out of there, and I said I'll never be a victim again. I will always go platinum. So in the kitchen, a dude named Debo, you could do the actual, you could see it from a mile away. Think about Friday. Think about that type of guy, a bully. I was there by myself, a lone wolf. And this is when I first met Flex, my best friend. Rest in peace, my comrade. 6'4", 6'5", 240, muscular, got the reverse tribal like George Clooney from Dusk Till Dawn. Stabbing someone is up close and personal. It's not something you do from a rifle with a scope. It's not something easy. You gotta hit them, and it's not like the movies where it's like a little. You gotta just put it in their bone for real. It's as real as it gets, and there's no trigger to pull. Some people tie the knife to their hands so they don't get scared and drop it or lose it. So here was Debo. I'm in the kitchen. Flex has already taken a liking to me because we just got along, man. We weren't with the bullshit. We want to work out. We just, wanted to just be the best versions of ourselves, but we were in a treacherous area. He was the baker, Flex, that is. And Debo didn't like that I was getting all the sandwiches to me, and I would go and distribute them when I would go out and collect the money, and we split it. Well, I come in there, and Flex isn't there, and all the food is gone. And I'm looking around, and immediately Debo slaps me across the face. Now, not only did everything get robbed from me, I don't know where Flex is, so I'm all alone in here. I have no backup. But a dude twice my size just slapped me, basically saying, hey, what would you, that's the worst insult you could possibly have in prison. But like I said, we're all criminals in here. We're not victims. I didn't go to prison for singing too loud in church, so there is no pity. He slapped me, and I told myself from the first time I went to war, got jumped and was almost killed, stabbed in the face, all this other stuff, that I will never, ever give somebody that chance to even think about what they just did. When he slapped me, I immediately took out that spear I had on me and started hitting him and hitting him. I hit him as many times as I could, wherever I could. And at first, he was like off guard, like what the fuck? And he was punching me while I was hitting him. But I knew that the more I would hit him, he would drop. He's punching me, and I'm just hitting him. Finally, he's going down, and his friends are coming on the side, like trying to kick me and everything like that, but I'm not stopping. And these tough dudes that were bullying, You know, they're gunning officers, pulling out their privates and yanking them at the officers, the women, and raping inmates. They're running for the officers. Help, help, help. I remember what I was told by Flex and everybody else. You do not stop hitting them. Put as many holes as possible until they get you off of them. Do not stop. And I had this giant bruise on my face from where he slapped me, man. And it was one of the most like, how did I get here moments, right? I got blood on my face like this. And I remember feeling like Braveheart. And then the officers come, they pepper spray me, kick me right in the face, lay me down, drag me across the freaking hot ass fucking floor. I remember looking at my work and I knew at least one of his charges was beating his pregnant girlfriend. I see it, he rapes inmates. And you know what I didn't like about him off rip, you know, and it's not my business, is say a man is a homosexual, but he doesn't want to partake in anything, he just wants to do his time. In his mind, you now owe him whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm a straight man, but still, that is such a fucked up concept to think that you can just take something from somebody because of how they choose to live their life. I remember looking at him and seeing all his partners running. That was the most intense moment of my life, because that's when I stopped being a dude that would ever let somebody try them on any level. Yeah, you slapped me. Yeah, you was trying to put down on me. But yeah, you and your friends ran, hit the button, got the guards. And I'm not proud of that. That was one of the scariest times of my life. And thank God he lived. I remember I'm covered in blood and they're taking me to confinement. And I'm walking in there and I see Flex. Because guess what? Debo had told on Flex for stealing from the kitchen and making whatever he was cooking. And I'm saying, Libertad, Libertad, like in Scarface. And he's like, he has no idea what's going on. And I was like, fuck that, man. Come to find out, this dude is in prison for 3 rapes of his own girlfriend. Now, people say that's impossible. How does that happen? Yeah, that could happen. It's rape is rape. It doesn't matter if it's your girlfriend or some girl you met at a bar and drugged. Rape is rape. But that was the most intense moment, because I had been through so much leading up to that moment. So many fights, so many scraps, so many just, war, that knowing that one day this was going to happen up close and personal, you smell the blood, you see their face, the panic, the fear, and he's punching me, but soon that lung is collapsing and I'm just hitting him and I'm letting him know nothing. I'm saying nothing. You see footprints of blood. I still smell it. I still see it to this day. And my whole face is covered. And it wasn't something I wanted. But guess what would have happened if I didn't do anything that day? He would have tried to turn me out. Who knows what it would have been? Other dudes might have injected him with a needle, or some dudes would have tried to get the one-on-one fight. Fuck that. There's no fair ones in prison. The only martial art that works in prison is violence. I'm not proud of that. And if you go to prison, you have 2 choices. In that moment, what are you gonna do? I go home soon, or I never go home, but I still have my dignity, because I'm not a victim. I'm a criminal in prison. So what do I look like saying, oh, I'm not, that's, a bully? No. I wasn't saying that when I was robbing drug dealers. He wasn't saying that when he was raping his girlfriend. But that was the most intense moment in my life, and I'll never forget that look in his eyes. And I had to do it. If not, he would have killed me. Plain and simple, with self-defense. But to know you can go from that, from, having to stab a guy over the simple principle of the fact he slapped me over my friend that's cooking food in a prison kitchen, making some ramen soups off it, to being an amazing father, a world champion Muay Thai fighter, and being able to help all of y'all. It shows you that sometimes the worst times of your life where you think it's over, you're right where you're supposed to be. Your vibration is just rising. Prison's not cool. 5 seconds could cost you the rest of your life. And it is what it is. The guards told me, since he hit me first and I had this giant bruise on my face, that I have to do 20 days for possession of a weapon in confinement. But if you think it's a game, find out. Whether you're driving drunk, selling dope, whatever it may be, this is the reality. Stay out, stay free.